Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you and welcome once again to the Young Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Angel. It's so great and wonderful to be here again. It's Monday, end of the month. We're closing out the month. I hope you're having a great beginning of the year 2022. It's already rolling, man. The ball has rolled already, so keep up, don't give up, man. Keep at it at your goals. Stay focused. All right. So yes, it's the 31st already. It's the end of the month. It's starting February. It starts tomorrow. So listen, guys, I'm excited to be here. I'm going to have some a great topic today. Great guest today. But before we do, I'll get into all that. You already know you can follow me on my social media accounts, Twitter, under Angel Santos 75, and also under Instagram, okay, under Angel Santos Podcast. And for those of you who have taken your time to download this on all the social media platforms, audio, whatnot, for Pandora, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of them, even Apple Podcasts. I appreciate you guys taking the time to download this podcast. If you guys can leave me a review, I greatly appreciate it. I always look at those reviews and I post them, and I greatly appreciate any feedback that you could give me. As you guys know, the previous podcast, Saturday, I had a great face to face interview, my first face to face. So please give me some feedback, likes, comments, anything, any areas of improvement. I'm always looking forward to any comments that you guys have. So it was my first face to face interview with my friend Nelson de la Nuez. You can see I have one of his products back here. And if you want any more information on those, I'm going to have all the links down below on this video and the video before. Okay. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe to my channel. As you can see here, subscribe, please. I appreciate your support. Also on Facebook, go ahead and share the content. If we're not friends, send me a friend request. I'll be glad to follow you and maybe have you one day on this podcast, on this platform. All right, guys. So thank you very much. And today, like I said, I have a gentleman that we hooked up recently, and we were talking about how to get this podcast launched and how to bring you some great content, right? We want to talk about how to build and establish authority. Some authority is very important, but building it with content and publications. All right. So listen, this gentleman, his name is Leonard Scheiner, and he has a great marketing business. He helps law firms, solar attorneys. I'm not an expert in the attorney law firm, but he brings good leads. You know, he brings business to these type of businesses. So that's one of the things that he does. I know he has a great story, and I'm going to get to know him as well here, along with you guys. So let's have fun and let's go ahead and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Leonard Scheiner. How you doing, Leonard?
Hello, Angel. Thanks so much for having me on this morning. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you, Leonard. And thank you for your time. I know you have a busy schedule and whatnot. So thank you for accepting this invite. And thank you for actually reaching out to me through the Podmatch platform and whatnot. Is a great honor to be a part of that platform, to meet wonderful entrepreneurs as yourself. So let's go ahead and get right into it, Leonard. But before we do, and before we talk about our topic about establishing the authority, right, with content and marketing strategies, a lot of things that a lot of entrepreneurs may not have that expertise. I know you do, so that's why I have you here today. So, Leonard, let's talk. Go ahead and start with just briefly, so the audience can get to know you as a young entrepreneur in your younger days. I know you're still young, you know, and that's great. It's just to get to know when you were growing up. What were your dreams, aspirations? You know, we always dreamed about being somebody, something, you know, big in life. Of course, life takes us through a different journey, whatnot, and things happen. But go ahead, let's start with your story, Leonard. What can you tell our audience about how you were growing up?
Yeah, I grew up in a small town like most of us or some of us do. And growing up in the small town gave me a good understanding of, connection and community and people. And it was difficult to go to the store without seeing someone that you knew from school. I mean, it was a very small town.
Yeah.
And although, there's positive and negatives about that, I liked it for most of my childhood. And but I always had this burning sensation inside of me that I wanted to spread my wings. So I moved to Los Angeles around the time for college and everything, and
Okay.
didn't look back. So I'm here in the Southern California area, and this has really been the stomping ground that has formed the business that I have today, and
Okay.
let me gain the expertise and become a young professional.
Okay. So, and how was that transition? Because coming from a small town, then you go to, the big city, LA. I mean, come on, that's I think is one of the biggest city. How was that transition? How was that mindset?
Well, the one of the first things that I noticed was that there were billboards that were digital and they changed. Back in my
Ah,
hometown, we had the same billboard for 10 years and
yeah,
it never changed.
yeah. I see what you're saying. So that brought you that curiosity with marketing.
Well, the billboard back home was the same personal injury attorney that
Oh
has
my gosh.
dominated the entire market, right? And
Right.
so, kind of along that same thread, uh, my first um, internship in college was with a law firm. And
Okay.
so, bringing us full circle, that's how I got into the legal industry and legal marketing. And from there, I saw that it was possible to do marketing that was meaningful.
Exactly.
Something I started my career off very early in fashion marketing, you could say.
Yeah.
And I learned very quickly that fashion marketing it's consumer marketing, and you're
Okay.
selling sometimes, more often than not, things that people don't need, right?
Exactly.
So when I saw an avenue where I can market for people, for attorneys who are going to help other people, I said that's the road for me.
Ah, okay. So how did you get started? Go ahead, let's talk about that. How did you get started with like your first what was your first steps to getting your own business? Because it's something that you do on your own. And it's like because you were like you said, you were doing it, and then you're just like, wait a minute, how can I make this actually my full-time profession and helping these solo attorneys, law firms, etc.
Yep. So I was pretty much your typical story of starting at the bottom and working your way up. I started as a
Okay.
marketing intern for a business litigation firm in Irvine, and saw how cases were run, saw business disputes, they call them business divorces when a partnership goes south. I saw real estate type cases, but very heavy, very litigation heavy. And
Okay.
and for entrepreneurs, your audience who's listening, we probably don't have the same terms and vocabulary that we're talking about, but
Yeah.
the stuffy, boring, seemingly boring, very very hefty types of areas of law. And so I saw how that helped businesses. Our clients were other businesses, so I was like, great, this is a business to business type marketing situation. um, I've also, from there, I went to work for a consumer firm, which was helping
Okay.
people with their student loans, and helping people who had went to school to do great work, and then now they've got to repay their student loans. But
Yeah.
the student loan man is not super nice when he's giving you repayment plans.
Yeah.
And so we were helping out consumers, and that's where the rubber really met the road. As far as working with companies, great. You can, protect them, make them more in
Yeah.
their bottom line. But where it really hit center was, we can help people who are losing sleep, right? You
Yeah.
can help people who are in a bad situation. And so, my journey of starting in a law firm as an intern, and then different marketing manager type positions, I realized this is what I want to do. This
Okay.
lets me help other people, and it is a way that I, as an entrepreneur, can grow myself, grow as an individual, right? Like
Exactly.
I want to be
Absolutely.
able to do and try different things. So,
That's
um,
awesome.
much like many of your listeners, I was in a corporate type role. I was an employee,
Of
and then
course.
I took what I knew and the skills that I established in that and brought it forward and was able to create Geek House, which is a law firm marketing agency and the agency I run today.
Okay, great. Yeah, I have the website there. I was going to talk about how did you come up with the name? Like, what is when someone visits that website, which I did, and I look at it, what can they expect when they're trying to reach out to you?
Well, Geek House, the idea there is that we're all geeks in some way, right? We're
Yeah,
either a geek about hot rod cars like my dad, or we're a geek about computers like my brother,
yeah.
or we're all geeks in our own respect. And so I like to geek out about marketing. And so
Mm,
the house is where everyone can come, and it's not just myself. I like
yeah,
to find others who are skilled and talented and let them, play the game, as we could say.
exactly. So when we talk about establishing that authority, right? And you say establish
Mhm.
that authority with content and publications. How important is it to you, Leonard, that content and publications?
Well, to me, I probably have a biased opinion.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly
but
fine.
but exactly like when you are going to the store, right? You
Hmm.
want to go to maybe Costco because you know they've got a great return policy, right?
Right.
Or you might want to go to a certain restaurant because you know that they make your X meal exactly the way that you want it, the right
Yeah.
amount of sauce, the right temperature, the right what have you.
Yeah.
So we're all unique and we all have our own skills and we like things, how we like them. And
Right.
so Geek House is a place where no matter your type of law firm, it's where not one strategy works for everyone, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Your favorite meal is going to be different than my favorite meal.
Yeah.
And so Geek House, we put together custom strategies for law firms based
Okay.
on what the individual attorney wants, what the practice area requires.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of content and publication, we're looking at what's going to be most impactful. So, if you're a
Okay.
divorce attorney, we need to build some relationship, right? It's great
Mm.
that we can read your bio. It's great that we know you've got a nice website, but like, who are you? Are
Ah.
you going to fight for me? Do you
Uh-huh.
care, or do you
You're,
just care about,
I might. Yeah. Yeah.
your own
I might
thing?
just another client. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what if I'm a divorce attorney, but I also have past military history, right? Well, then I'm going to resonate really well with military individuals who are going through divorce.
Wow.
So I, as a strategist, look, I feel like we're all brands at heart, right?
Yeah.
Businesses, we call it a brand, but, Angel, I've gotten to know you and I could talk about your personality or your character, right? So
Right.
your personality is what we call a brand for a firm or a company. And
Okay.
so when I get to know you, I have conversations with you, we'll have a meal, we'll break bread. I'm building that relationship. And
That's awesome.
exactly that, which we would do in person or virtually, we need to do that with the brand, the law
Right.
firm, the
Of course.
business. So the way that we do that is through getting out who you are through
Yeah.
content or publications, press, something of that sort.
Wow, that's awesome. That's I can relate to that in the sense of the podcast. I created this podcast not only to connect with great-minded entrepreneurs, persons like my bio for the podcast says, but I like to establish that connection. That's why I say I want to follow you
Mhm.
on social media platforms to follow you, to share, what you do, you connect with me, an exchange, you know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
that's important. I think for you to come on this platform and poof, be gone and never hear from you again, it's like that's not necessarily the purpose of what I want to get out of the podcast. So thank you for bringing that up. That's important. So how does a law firm get new clients?
Well, we all know we've got word of mouth, right? That's what everyone says.
Right.
Gotta be everywhere, gotta be everywhere. But I'd like to challenge that and say we don't want to be everywhere, right?
Okay.
Because what if everyone gave us a call today? We'd be overloaded.
Exactly.
So more so, we want to be in the right place for the right people.
Right.
So, how a law firm goes about getting clients is having a system, not some activity, but a
Okay.
system of how we generate new ideal clients. And what that looks like is, what's working. It's going to look different for different types of firms, but we
Exactly.
look at what's working and we try to improve on that, or we could do completely something different. Most firms want to keep doing what they're doing and just make it work. And I always like to invite the opportunity to
Explore.
explore,
Yeah.
right? Because if
Yeah.
we're trying to fit a square peg into a circle hole, it's not gonna fit, right?
Good
But if we
example. Yeah.
just change and we have a circle peg and a circle hole, that's gonna fit. So I kind of like to shave off the edges of whatever they've got going
Yeah.
and bring us a little bit more focused. And so
Okay.
what that looks like tangibly is if you're a consumer type of firm, so think, bankruptcy or um, like bankruptcy, divorce, personal injury, right?
Yeah.
Any of those, workers' compensation, employment, like any of
Okay.
those where the person is receiving the benefit of the attorney, we want to be talking to that person, right? So if I'm an attorney, I'm going to be telling and on social very personably about things that are relevant to the person, to my ideal client. But if I'm talking about, representing real estate developers, my content's going to look very different.
Yeah. Big
Yeah.
time. Okay, so because I know, now that we're talking about this with, attorneys, and I see so many commercials, and I could only imagine how much attorneys, which they probably don't care how much they spend on advertisement for, commercial and whatnot, especially trying to you probably advertise now in the Super Bowl, that's going to cost them for a 30-second cost. But do you see that, like, what's the difference between that? Because I think law firms, maybe they overlook what you do and be like, well, I don't need that. I'll just go and advertise on TV.
Sometimes, let's think. So I have had attorneys before and other professionals think that one strategy is a great way, like what you
Right.
mentioned with TV. Um, there's a million ways to make $1 million.
Yeah. True.
And I always say that whatever you think is the best strategy
Yeah.
is probably your best strategy because you already think that, right?
Right.
So it kind of goes back to that explore thing. If they've been trying something, let's explore something different. So in terms of your example, a TV spot, um, if it was back in my hometown and you were a
Oh
personal
yeah,
injury attorney, that's great because you
that's
can get on
perfect.
every TV when everyone's at home eating dinner with their families, right? It's a great way to get brand awareness. And I say that about billboards too. It's a great way
Okay.
to get brand awareness. Geek House is very heavily weighted attorneys, but we have a few non-attorneys, such as a real estate agent and some other
Okay.
professionals. It's professional services, but the topic came up of bus advertisements or a bus sign, like a bus bench sign,
Okay.
and so we can think about that as brand awareness, right? If someone
Right.
sees the bus, they're going to know, oh, Bob Smith. Okay.
Yeah.
But we have to get someone in that moment in time to pick up the phone that's on the bus ad. How likely is it that they're going to be driving at, 35 or, on the freeway,
On the freeway.
75 miles an hour and be like, one, I see the advertisement. Two, I resonate with it. Like either it's funny or it's informative. I resonate.
Yeah.
Three, I need it, right? And then 4, even if I need it, do I call? Do I pick up the phone? Do I go to the web? Okay, we're asking for a lot to
Yeah.
happen at 75 miles an hour. So most of the clients that I work with, I say, let's not spend our marketing dollars there,
Mhm.
because that budget can get out of hand very quickly. You'll
Yeah.
spend easy, especially here in the Los Angeles market,
Oh,
many thousands of dollars on out of home advertising that is really just awareness. I would much rather see, especially for most of the people listening to us now who are
yeah.
young entrepreneurs, I would much rather see the marketing dollar go to something that is direct response,
Okay.
because we can track it and we can see, oh, is that bus bench making me money, or is this email marketing campaign making me money, right? We can see
Exactly.
that. A bus bench, they might have seen that, but they're going to come to the website, right? So then we think it's
Yeah.
a website lead, and we never know that it's coming from the bus bench.
Right.
So a bus bench is great for AT&T, Verizon, Costco, although they don't
Yeah.
need marketing, whatever, right? Something national,
Right.
even a fast food restaurant, right? Great, because I see it, I'm hungry, I go, they're on the next block. It's really quick. But for professional services, whether you're an attorney or any other type of consulting, agency, coach, entrepreneur, you've got to build that relationship and have them in a
Man,
position where they're ready to make that next move.
that's you hit a key on right there. Building that relationship, building that rapport, building that, because that's what it's all about. I think that's what helps us, because there's a question that I want to ask you, because how can a law firm or lawyer get better quality clients more consistently? I think that's very important right there.
How many times have you heard from people that, my phone's ringing, but the leads are bad?
Mm.
I've got people on my list, but no one wants to buy. I hear that
Uh-huh.
all the time.
All
I've
the
got a
time.
great list, but no one wants to buy. Well, then that's the wrong list,
Yeah,
plain and simple,
plain and simple. Yeah.
right? You don't see AARP going and trying to sell their stuff to preschools. It's the
Yeah.
wrong market.
The
It
raw
doesn't make
market.
sense.
Okay.
So, how do we get better clients? We make sure that we're putting out content and messages and actually marketing to the people who we want to be our clients. And so often I hear people say, like a coach is a great example. A
Okay.
coach or even an attorney, like a personal injury attorney. Who are your client? Well, we'll take everyone, right? And that sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'll tell you one thing I know for sure. If you're marketing to everyone, we all know the saying, you're marketing to no one, but
Yeah.
the return on your dollar is going to go so much further if you're talking to only the people that could become your client, right? So imagine I'm talking to everyone, maybe it's 1 million people, but my budget is X. So now I got to take that budget and spread it across 1 million people, versus if I
Okay.
only had 1,000 people and I can take my same budget and spread it over 1,000 people, those 1,000 people would see my advertising more. I could spend
Mm-hmm.
more time on testing or anything of that sort. So um, that's how we get better clients, is we're more focused and specific with what we're going after.
Okay. And one last question, I think, before we could go, is what is a good marketing budget? Because marketing budget, I think, is very important. So like you said, some people, like, you're just throwing your money out there thinking that that's going to solution. But is that something that you focus with your clients as well?
We do. The budget is often something that's a pain point, or I should say, a big point of concern for young entrepreneurs.
Okay.
I know when I was launching my own first marketing campaign, I think you're going to laugh, but I think it was $150 a week. And whether you
Wow.
think that's a lot, a little,
Yeah,
for me at that point in my history, I was like, that's a lot, right? I was an employee at the time,
of course.
doing, trying to get consulting clients for marketing on the side. And that what it was delivering leads, but they weren't good quality leads. And
quality.
so, it was an expense for me. It wasn't converting, and it was just, I felt defeated.
Yeah.
But I realized that the budget, like, that was my personal experience, but when I'm talking about budgeting for myself or for clients or any of that, it's based on what reward we could get, right? What's the
Right.
ROI?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's really the conversation. It's not about, X amount is too much. There's clients that spend $1,000 and think it's a lot. There's clients who spend 15 grand and it's just an everyday expense, right? So
Exactly.
the
Mhm.
range is really whatever you want to make it, but
Okay.
I'm always basing it on, it's not a figure, it's a formula.
Formula.
So
I
if you're
see
going to
now.
get return, great. You also have to be able to afford it. So that's another consideration. But I guess one lasting story I want to leave with your audience is, when you're
Yeah.
going through a time and you're trying to figure out what your budget is for marketing, what you could do is shrink the amount of time that you're dealing with. So
Okay.
most people want to have a year-long marketing plan. I want to have a quarter-long marketing plan. Okay, what if you don't know, it's a new business, right? Most of your
Yeah.
audience, they're in a business for themselves. So shrink your time. What can you do in the next 30 days? What's your marketing plan for 30 days?
Yes.
What time frame are you able to handle that lets you feel in control? Because if you're looking at a year and you feel out of control, look, that don't blame yourself for it. It just is. But you're also the CEO of your own business, so you get to be a leader.
Yeah.
And with that comes responsibility of not being able to say, oh, a year is too long. Okay, then I'm just not going to have any direction or any plan.
Exactly.
We get to pull that closer. So let's look at
Yeah.
30 days, right?
There's
And
a short
sometimes,
term goal, kind of like a we call a short term goal instead of long
exactly,
term goal. Okay.
exactly, easier to handle.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I love that too. I'm very about that, short term goal and of course long term goal. You can't, it's not that you don't want to do either one, it's that you have to balance it out. I think if you balance it out, then that's where a lot of entrepreneurs kind of like and fall down. But that's
Yeah.
great, man. I appreciate your time, Leonard. I know that you have a busy schedule, so I don't want to consume too much more of your time. I'm actually gonna forward this content. I don't know if she's watching. I have a friend of mine. Her name is Jeanette. She's a divorce attorney here in Florida, and I've been trying to get her on this podcast. So she's watching or she's gonna tune in. I'm trying to get her because she has a really busy schedule, but I think she could probably use maybe some of your guidance or maybe even your services. So I'm definitely gonna forward this to her, and hopefully she could look it up and review it. Maybe she could use it, maybe she can't, but I know she could get some more ideas out of it. So, but Leonard, I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for being on this podcast. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Angel. It was a pleasure sharing some time with you this morning.
Absolutely, man. We'll keep in touch. Thank you so much. You have a good week, man. Take care.
Have a great one. Bye,
All right.
Angel.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. All right, folks. So there you have it. Once again, thank you so much, guys, for joining Instagram. Thank you much. Thank you. Thank you. Subscribe to my channel. Share this content. Maybe someone that you know that's in this solo attorneys whatnot that maybe they could use Leonard's services or whatnot. So share this content. I'm gonna have all his links, all his social links, his business website down below on the YouTube description. So if you want to get a hold of him, you'll be more than able to. Thank you guys again for joining this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this content. It's very short and brief because this gentleman, like I said, he's very busy, but he has some great content. He has a lot of questions that you may have. He could help you. Okay, so if there's something that you feel that you could use his services, look him up, Leonard Scheiner. And before we go, I do want to leave you with positive scripture, like I always do, and it's in Proverbs 29:11, and it says, "Fools give full vent to their rage." Right? Fools they give their anger out right away, but the wise bring calm in the end. So always be wise and don't let that rage come out so easily. All right, guys. So thank you for joining. I'm gonna see you on the next podcast. I think I have one this sometime this week. I'll keep you guys posted. So thank you again. I'll see you on the next podcast of the Young Entrepreneur Mindset podcast. All right, guys. Thank you. Take care. Have a great week. Remember, end of the month, but February is going to be an even better month. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Take care. God bless.